Asking good questions at the end of your consulting case interviews could be the difference between getting an offer and not getting that offer. So that's exactly what we're going to talk about today, why the Q&A is so important and what questions you should ask to help you get that offer in consulting. Hello everyone, my name's Henry. I'm an incoming BCG consultant, and here at the Consulting Axis, our mission is to help you align your future in consulting and beyond. So if you want to do that and that sounds good, then consider subscribing and turning on bell notifications so you don't miss any video, because I'll be frequently bringing out content that will really help you in this area. But now let's get right into the video. So firstly, let's get on to why the Q&A section is so important. Now, a case interview is normally split into 3 parts. Firstly, you have the questions about you section, which is questions like tell me about yourself. Then you have the case study, which is normally the longest part of the case interview. And finally, you have the Q&A section right at the end of the interview. And because it's at the end of your interview, you want to finish the interview leaving a good impression with your interviewer. So you want them leaving the room thinking, yeah, I want to hire this person, rather than, I'm not so sure. So I know it's going to sound really simple, but the key point is to actually ask a question. So why would it be so bad for you not to ask a question? Well, firstly, it could come off as a bit arrogant because they've spent 30 odd minutes interviewing you, asking you questions, and you can't be bothered to ask them a question. I know this might not be what you're meaning, but it could come over like that. And also, put yourself in their shoes. They want to hire someone that is both interested in consulting and their company, and by not asking any questions, it could show them that you're not interested in consulting, i.e. why would they give you a consulting job, and also you're not interested in their company, and they want to hire someone that will take real pride working for them. So now let's get on to the reason you probably clicked on this video, what questions you should ask your interviewer. Well, if you search on Google what are the best questions to ask in a consulting case interview, you'll see loads of articles saying the 8 best questions to ask, things like that. But before you just ask these questions, consider this. Firstly, you need to make sure you're actually interested in the question that you're going to ask. And I'm not saying the questions on these websites are bad, but you need to make sure you're interested in it because it will come over far more genuine. And also, it's always better to ask more unique questions, i.e. questions that you've thought up yourself, because this will help them remember you and you'll stick out from the crowd rather than just being another person that asks the same sort of generic question. And my second point is to not ask yes or no questions. I spoke about this in a previous video, but one of the most important things in case interviews is to build a relationship with your interviewer, because if they like you and they'd want to work with you, you'll have a far better chance of getting that offer. And asking yes or no questions doesn't really help you build a relationship. So ask more open-ended questions. For example, rather than asking, have you enjoyed working here, you could ask, what are your favourite things about this company? Building on this point, it's always good to ask questions that could potentially lead to a conversation. So rather than just doing question, answer, you could do question, answer, conversation, and this will really help you build that relationship. So questions like, how do you see consulting progressing as an industry? Asking questions that show your interest in consulting is really important. So you could ask questions like, when a team of consultants first meet their client, how is this meeting really conducted? And this is a great question because it shows them you already know a bit about consulting, but you want to know more and you're eager to learn. And this is something that's really important in consulting. You can also ask questions that show your interest in the company. And like before, you can ask questions that show that you've researched a bit about the company before, but you want to know more. For example, BCG have different business units that specialise in different areas. For example, BCG Gamma specialises in data science. So you could ask them, I know that BCG have different sub-companies, and I was just wondering how their work differs to the generalist consulting roles. And finally, make sure to not ask questions that you could easily look up on your own. Like I've said before, make them know that you've researched a bit beforehand and ask a question in one go. For example, if you're applying to a large firm, rather than asking, how many employees have you got, you could ask them, how do you make sure that you stay creative and innovative at such a large firm? So I really hope you enjoyed the video, and let me know in the comments what questions would you want to ask in your consulting case interviews. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. It's free and it really does help me out a lot. But for now, best of luck with your consulting case interviews.